Every chapter of our book has an algebra skills review. It's so that you don't forget all the skills that you learned in Algebra 1 as you are taking the year to go through a geometry class. So in Chapter 1, our textbook concentrates on a review of slope. So the slope of a line is a measure of its steepness. So you can have the steepness of a hill, the steepness of a roof, the incline of a ramp. On a graph, slope can tell us the rate of change or speed also. Okay, so now, I don't know if you remember from grade school, but slope is rise over run. I always say slope is fun, it's rise over run. It is vertical change over horizontal change. So one way to look at it, they say, is to draw a slope triangle. So we have our red line here, and we want to find out what the slope is. So what it's going to be is the rise over the run. Here's the rise. The rise is the difference in the two y values. This y value here minus this y value here. So y sub 2 minus y sub 1. And the run is the difference in the x values. So the x value over here would be x sub 2. And I subtract the x value over here, which would be x sub 1. So the run is x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So that means the rise, y sub 2 minus y sub 1. And the run would be x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So here's the official definition and a conjecture that we're going to put on your conjecture list. The slope, which they call m, of a line or a segment through 2 points with coordinates x sub 1, y sub 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2 is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So here's an example of this. This point A is at 3, 1, and to get to B, I'd have to go 7 and then up 6. So this could be my x sub 1, y sub 1. This I could consider my x sub 2, y sub 2. So if I want to find the slope of this, the slope would be y sub 2, which is 6, minus y sub 1, which is 1. So that's what I put over here. And the x's, x sub 2 is 7, minus x sub 1 is 3. So the top becomes a 5, on the bottom 7 minus 3 is a 4, so the slope of this line is 5/4. So that means it's a rise of 5 and a run of 4. So if I start here and I want to get to this point on the right, so I start on the left and I want to go to a point on the right, I would have to go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then over a positive 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would be back on the line. What we just did was a positive slope. A positive slope line is a line that goes uphill. As x increases, y increases. So as I go this way, from left to right, my y, the height of this, also increases. So this was the example here. When this line was going uphill, we got a positive slope. If I have a line that is going downhill, what do I have? A slope that is negative. As x is increasing, the y is going down. So it's easy just to remember, I guess. Positive, when you're positive and you're up, you put your head up and you walk with your head held high because you're feeling in a positive mood. When you're feeling in a negative mood, you kind of walk so that your head and your shoulders are kind of slumping down. Here I have a line that is horizontal. It has a slope of 0. If I want to get from this point here to this point here, the change in y is a 0. From here to here, it's the same y, so I don't change at all, even though the x's are changing in a positive direction. So because my y's are equal to each other, when I subtract y sub 2 minus y sub 1 on the top, I'm going to get a 0 on the top and some kind of number on the bottom, which is going to end up being a 0. If I look at this slope is called undefined. It is a vertical line. So if I want to get from this point to this point, the change in the y is some kind of a number, but the change in the x to get from here to here, I don't change x's, it stays the same. So if those x's are the same, when I subtract them, I'm going to get a 0. And if you take your calculator and put any number on the top and then go divide it by 0, you're going to get an error message because you can never divide by 0. So this slope is considered undefined. I also kind of think of this as you're going uphill, so positive, downhill, you're going negative. Here you're just not going up or down, so you're at a 0. And now look what happens here. If this pig was really on this line and the pig was left there, the pig would fall, crash down here. And when the pig was down here, here's its little tail, and here's its body, it would be, unfortunately, not with us anymore. It would be dead and undefined. So vertical lines have these undefined slopes where cars on there and pigs on there and anything else would just crash down and be undefined. They wouldn't exist anymore because they would be gone. Hope this helps.